Once again, YouTube, figure yourself out. I gotta go live on my phone here again this week. Something is wrong every single week with the just YouTube on my actual laptop, which is way more convenient. But anyway, we're good. I foresaw this coming. I saved things to my desktop. And so usually I'll access questions on my phone, but we're good. So we'll go ahead and knock this out. All right, let's see. This is the Ask Me Anything for March 20th, 2025. Got some shout outs and then we'll get into the questions. So first shout out. This is from Patrick S. Patrick S, congratulations, my friend. To say that he has been around Lynchpin for a while and he's an OG would be an understatement. He just celebrated his 1,500th workout with Lynchpin. Yeah, 1,500. So, Patrick, congratulations. Melanie, I see you. She said, oh, nice. Figured it wouldn't happen. Happy spring. Happy spring to you as well. I don't know what is going on. I don't know what's going on with YouTube on my desktop. I got to figure that out. But anyway. Next one is from Tom S. Tom just celebrated 6 months with Lynchpin. He says he's 6 months in. Absolutely love it. Embrace it all. The Facebook group, Lynchpin Conversations, everything. It's an incredibly supportive community and a fantastic program. Happy to have you on board, my friend. This is a shout out to Briant T. Okay, this is cool. This is from a workout that we did recently. I think it was the interval day with the strict chest to bar chin-ups, the weighted box step-ups, and then the row sprints. And we're always talking about, at Lynchpin, about improving your strength and conditioning IQ, your fitness IQ. And those aren't just empty words, like letting our community know the intent of the workout. And so if you got something going on, you have the fitness freedom and knowledge to modify it, make it fit you perfectly, not feel bad that you had to modify it, and that's really cool. So Brian T says, man, what a great strength and conditioning day. Some not for time in the pull-ups, some kind of for time with the weighted lunges. He did lunges to the box step-ups, and for time with the rowing. So he centered on the rower. All the elements mixed together, at least that's how I did them. I also used my fitness IQ, thanks to Lynchpin Conversations and the VNR podcast, to modify and add a little variance. For the variance, I kept all the pull-ups strict, but varied the type each round. Rounds 1 and 5 were neutral grip, using some special doodads from Amazon. The other rounds I mixed in chin-ups and standard pull-ups. Modification. My right knee sometimes gives me issues on box step-ups, so today was one of those days, so I did weighted lunges instead. Finished it off with some accessory work. So he did what he needed to do with the pull-ups. He did what he needed to do with the box step-ups instead of lunges. Like, fitness was achieved. It makes me so happy when people let themselves do that. Okay. And then the final one, this is from, oh, I should turn on the volume on my computer. This is just like a real life shout out about, Lynchpin is full of real people doing real things. So Shannon D says she's got 2 jobs, and her second job is working for a catering company. And today she's going to work a 10-hour shift bartending a 200-person gala event at the local science center. They easily carry, load, and unload thousands of pounds over the course of the event, coupled with being on my feet all day long. That's going to be my workout for today. I hope that my bar today isn't on the 5th floor. So talk about it. Working multiple jobs, busting your butt like that, still finding ways to get fitness in. So very cool. Congratulations. And let's go ahead and start the questions. So, as the title of the show is, let me get that question called up. Stand by. Okay, let me switch this over here. I'm gonna put this over here. Okay, so CrossFit's for sale. And so the question is from Paul M. Paul says, I assume you received the reported email sent to affiliate owners that CrossFit is for sale for the second time since 2020. Do you have any comments or opinions on this development that you're willing to share? I realize this isn't a true fitness question, but my curiosity is certainly piqued. So yes, no worries, Paul. And quite honestly, I was shocked that this question didn't come out last week when that email first came out. So here are my thoughts. I scratched down some bullet points in no particular order. Yes, CrossFit is for sale. I don't know if that's going to be good or bad. I mean, there's the honest assessment. Um, I kind of tried to put things into two buckets. The first bucket is things that I can control, and the other bucket is things that I can't control. And I know that that's corny, and I'm a human, and I mix up the buckets every now and then. I worry about stuff that I shouldn't, but I really try to do that. And so things that I can control include, but are not limited to, obviously everything that goes on with Lynchpin, the quality of the community, the interactions, the knowledge base, the programming, the whole 9 yards. We're gonna march forward doing what we've been doing for years, regardless of what occurs with the sale. Period. End of story. There are things that I cannot control. I can't control who buys CrossFit, and I can't control what they do with it when they buy it. That doesn't mean that I don't care. I care, but I can't control it, so I try not to worry too much about it. Again, I'm human. I do worry about it every now and then, but I try not to. And this may seem obvious, but I really feel it is one of those wait and see kind of a things. It's going to have to be assessed. Everything is a decision. Everything is a value proposition. Do you feel whatever that company is aligns with what you want to align with, and the value proposition is there? This goes with everything. Every decision that you make in life is a representation in one way, shape, or form. And the new owners of CrossFit are going to be a big one that has to be assessed. I genuinely, from the bottom of my heart, hope that the new owner or owner group or whatever it is, I hope they're amazing. I hope they're absolutely phenomenal, and all of us can't stop just singing their praises, because that's good for everybody in the entire space. And so I want everybody to win. And so that would be my number one thing. But the truth is, I don't know, right? I've heard so many different rumors and theories that I'm not even going to dive down those rabbit holes. Everybody wants the unicorn buyer, right? Not the anonymous, faceless private equity fund that's just interested with, wringing every cent and profit out of the business. They want the unicorn buyer that's, somebody who loves CrossFit with a profoundly high net worth, with a series of friends who love CrossFit, who also have profoundly high net worth, and they purchase it, and then it's in business savvy individuals who also understand the community and drive it in the right direction. I want that unicorn buyer too, and I hope that's what it is. That's probably the lower chance, that's why unicorns aren't that common. I rarely see one actually in real life. There's a good chance that it will be some sort of conglomerate or another private equity firm. I don't know. And if that's the case, I'm going to assume I'm not a part of a private equity firm, but as far as I know, most private equity firms don't buy things on just, because they look like they'll be fun. It's because some sort of, a due diligence period was gone through where they sifted through the financials with incredible detail, and then had a bunch of people with, credentials after their name think about how this is the current valuation of the company. If we hold it for this long, what measures can we put in place to increase revenue and decrease expenses, therefore significantly increase the valuation of this asset that we purchased, and sell it again in 4 to 7 years and return all the capital and a wonderful bonus to everybody that put money in. And that will be good for the private equity firm. And I don't know if it will be good for CrossFitters and the affiliates. I don't know. It could be. They could do things intelligently. They could wring profits out of it at the expense of people. So that's a whole bunch of TBD. So for the time being, I don't have any special information. I'm going to have to wait and see what happens. I'm going to have to check it out just along with everybody else and make the assessment at the end of that. But I genuinely am not losing any sleep over it, because no matter what happens, we'll be fine at Lynchpin. I'm still going to get up every day and do what I've been doing for years, regardless of what happens. So we will all be fine. That's my short one right there. Okay, next one. Okay, this is what happens when you don't PR. Great. So where was this question here? Sorry. All right. This is from Andrew G. It's a well-known fact that CrossFitters tend to be their own worst enemy. If a PR isn't hit on a particular day, then it's a bad day in the gym. If my Fran time is 2 seconds slower, then I've lost my fitness. All my gains are gone. In your opinion, what do you think is the cause of this harmful mentality? Have the game's atmosphere created this, or is this just human nature that we tear ourselves down at every turn? Just wanted your thoughts. Thanks again. Love the programming. Oh man, this falls under that bucket that I say all the time, which is strength and conditioning is easy. People are hard. I mean, it really is the truth. So I got some thoughts on this. Let's see. It's the controlling of your mind, and I wish I knew how I could do that. But I think you're right that it is just a human being thing, and it's not just in fitness. It doesn't matter what it is. You could have, over the course of your day, 10 people give you sincere, genuine compliments. Let's say 9 people. 9 people. One person says a snarky remark to you that's just a biting insult and it cuts. Okay, so 9 good, 1 bad. That means 90% of the things that you heard over the course of the day were fantastic, and 10% were bad. They were an insult. There's a really good chance that you disregard all those 9, and that 1 bad thing just rolls around in your head and torments you. So I don't think it's anything different with regards to fitness and this lift compared to the last lift and all that stuff. I think it is just at its base. It's how human beings are wired, and learning how to control that, not just in the gym, but in every facet of your life, will probably make you so much of a happier human being. And where this all came in, the tracking of data, the tracking of results, the comparison, really was a large degree of genius when Greg, first started CrossFit back in 2001. The whole gamification aspect of working out, I'm sure there were some people doing it, here or there, but like en masse, I got to give, credit to Greg for gamifying things, meaning we're not just going to work out, we're going to gamify it by working out against each other. And we're going to time you on it. And then we're going to have this whiteboard, and we're going to put all these scores or lows or times on the whiteboard, and you're going to be able to compare yourself versus somebody else. And what did that do? That drove a healthy competition. People would work harder because they knew that their results would be public, right? And that there's some scrutiny involved there, and that does tend to have more human beings try a little harder. That's a good thing. At the time, it was necessary, because it can be really easy to think how things are in 2025 is how they've always been. Depending upon when you got in to CrossFit, that wasn't the case. So if CrossFit's been around, let's say since 2001, we're coming up on 25 years, but way back then, most people weren't doing compound multi-joint barbell movements like cleans and jerks and deads and squats. There was a lot of isolation machine-based movements. There was, large rest periods between sets. So it was not high power producing movements. And generally speaking, you might work hard when you were on the leg press, don't get me wrong, but the overall session was a low intensity deal. And so people needed, in order to see results and actually get some real fitness, they needed a change in movement selection. They certainly needed some variance, but they also needed to work harder, generally speaking, and that is some intensity. Well, running the clock and comparing scores and data gave exactly that. So it was undoubtedly the right thing to do, and it worked. But you just have to understand, that was the point of it. People weren't working hard enough, generally speaking. So enter the clock, enter tracking your results. And it should just stop right there in your head, that it's a useful tool to get you to work hard. It's not supposed to be, if you go in the gym and you work hard, and you work hard on that day based on how you feel, how you slept, how you ate, the whole 9 yards, and you're 2 seconds slower than Fran, but you gave your best effort, you shouldn't let that result compared to the last one now make you feel like that wasn't an effective workout, or all your fitness is gone, or any of that stuff. You have to take a step back and realize that that clock, that tracking, is just a tool to get you to try hard. Period, end of story. And also, it's useful data to make sure that, generally speaking, everything's moving in the right direction. If you have a bad workout today, that can just be today. And you might even have a bad week, depending upon what you have going on with your sleep, your sickness, your kids, your work, your whatever. But your general trajectory, as you look over the course of weeks and months in the year, should be trending in the right direction, and you won't know that unless you track your data. So also identify the difference between one little blip on the radar and sustained performance in a good or bad direction. And so the clock and tracking your loads is just a tool for that. But at the end of the day, what really matters, effort. Like effort matters at the end of the day. Not necessarily the load and not necessarily the time, and especially if you plan on being in this for the long term. Because if you're going to work out and do this stuff when you're 25, 35, 45, 55, and 65, there's a pretty good chance that your back squat at 55 is not going to be what it was at 35. It is what it is. But if your effort level is there, you're winning. Your Fran time at 55 probably won't be as good as it was at 35, but if you're actually still doing some version of Fran and pushing yourself intelligently, again, the effort is there, then relative to where you are in your fitness journey, you're driving results and you're good to go. So that's that. And this question dovetails nicely on a question that Brian asked in the Facebook group. So let me find that one real quick and just tie them together. Okay, here's Brian's question from the Facebook group. Briant T says, I was listening to last week's podcast and you were talking about how some people reset their PRs every 5 years once you get into your late 30s. So what he was talking about is, I can't take credit for this, but somebody said once they entered the master's division, which starts at 35 years old, they started fresh with their PRs. And every time they entered a new master division, which is every 5 years, they wiped the slate clean. And so you were, 35 to 39, that's a set of PRs. When you turn 40, you wipe the slate clean. 40 to 44, everything's new. When you turn 45, you wipe the slate clean. 45 to 49, everything's new, etc., etc. And I think that's actually like a really positive, cool thing to do. So that's what Brian's talking about. So you were talking about resetting PRs every 5 years past your late 30s. I'm 49 and considering doing this myself early next year when I turn 50. I seem to recall that you and I are the same age, so I was curious if this is something you are already practicing or is this something you would intend to do when you turn 50? It sounds freeing to consider, but also a little nerve-wracking to let go of old numbers. Thanks. Okay, so yes, I am 49 years old. I will be 50 in August. And I guess the general answer to your question is yes, that I do plan on doing that, but also yes, that I kind of already have. And what I mean by that is, how to phrase this. I don't want to say that I don't care, because then that's like, some sound someone's going to clip out. Pat doesn't care how he does. That's not it. I think it's not that I don't care. Is, if I go say like what I just said a second ago to Andrew, I try as hard as I can. I got my pump up music on. I got a good warm up on. I am doing everything with every cell in my body to have the most productive 5x5 session that I can. And I operate at my limits of safety and physical capacity. At the end, I don't care what the load was. It's taken me a while to get there, but that's the God's honest truth. I don't care what the load was. I care that I went in, I worked my tail off, and I did some great back squats. It is what it is. Would I like to PR? Of course I would. I'm a human being. That would be awesome. When I do PR, you better believe that I'm going to celebrate it. But if I don't, it doesn't matter to me. It matters to me that I went in and I did back squats and I worked really hard. Same thing goes on my 6x400 meter runs. Same thing goes on Fran. Same thing goes on all that stuff. And I was lucky enough to, probably because I talk to all of you all the time, quite frankly, to accept that mind shift switch a while ago. And it really is good. It is freeing. Like, it has made me enjoy working out because I work out for myself. I work out for my long-term health. I work out to be, fit, fast, and strong for my family and not for the leaderboard. And when those PRs happen, and they still happen, which is really cool, approaching 50, they still happen. That's awesome. But I don't care if they do or not. I care that I try as hard as I possibly can. Okay. What is the next one? Sorry, okay. So we talked about that one. Sorry, everybody. Stand by for 1 second. All right, this one is from Richie S. At different times in our lives and our fitness, we were looking to do different things like get ready for particular events or to be better in sports. Currently, mine is endurance and speed for soccer. Should we tailor our workouts for a period of time to get better cardio-wise to fit in? And if so, how should we do that in the app? If not, should we just stick to the regular programming and will everything be just fine? So, all right, good question. So to train for a specific sport, well, generally speaking, I would say it depends what your sport is. You went ahead and identified it. Yours is soccer. What I would say is, for anyone thinking about this, again, whatever your sport happens to be, what you have to think about is, what is your sport? Because some lend themselves better to what we do in a GPP program than others. And how serious are you about this particular sport? And you need to make a decision as to what's the priority in your life. And there's no right or wrong answer. It's totally up to you. So if you are just casual about soccer or most other sports, then what we do here at Lynchpin would be a wonderful, beneficial, and effective strength and conditioning GPP base for you to go ahead and apply to your sport. Now, just doing Lynchpin every day is not going to make you good at soccer. It's not going to make you good at baseball, basketball. It's not going to make you a UFC fighter. It's going to make you fit, fast, and strong that you can go to those sports and practice the actual skills and drills for that sport. The ball handling in soccer, hitting balls with the old bat in baseball, throwing the ball around, you still got to go to the jiu-jitsu place if you're a fighter, like all that stuff. It's the strength and conditioning program that allows you to do that. But you have to do and practice the actual sport. What we do isn't going to magically make you good athletes in those things. If you are recreational and casual, then you could just show up. You don't need to do anything different, okay? Like I could show up to, and my wife did this a couple of years ago, which was amazing. She signed up for just like an adult league soccer game. She has no soccer experience at all. But she went out there and played down the street. She had a ton of fun. It's not funny. It's not funny. But what was amazing was in this short period of time that she played, how many adults I saw just pop their hamstrings sprinting, because nobody sprints, right? But she was fine because we do that stuff at Lynchpin. And so she had the lungs, she had the speed, she had all that. She just wasn't good at soccer. So I could get out there and run around with everybody for an hour and get subbed in and get subbed out. I would not make a single goal. I could not do a single effective pass to anybody, and I would look like an absolute idiot. But I would have the GPP base to get out there and do it. Now that's the casual recreational level. If you are serious about soccer, okay, that's fine. Or fill in your sport, whatever it happens to be. Then you might need to go ahead. You've made that now that is a definite priority for you. You might have to deprioritize what you're doing in the gym, but not too much. So now instead of maybe doing Lynchpin 5 days a week, you'll ratchet it down to 3 days a week, and you will add in 2 or 3 days of, you said speed and endurance, longer runs and sprint sessions to help you on the soccer field. You could try, because each person's a little bit different. If you're doing Lynchpin 5 days a week, everyone can tolerate a little bit of a different level of volume. So you could try doing 5 Lynchpin workouts a week and adding those 2 or 3 other sessions in additionally of long runs or sprint sessions. And then listen to your body. Is that too much? Are you starting to get run down? Are you overtrained or under-recovered? Has your sleep been affected? How are your motivation levels? All that good stuff. And if it's going in a negative direction and your priority is the soccer, then ease back on Lynchpin and add in those 2 or 3 sessions and find that sweet spot for you. But it just depends upon what you prioritize, how serious you are about that particular sport or event, and then what your body can actually tolerate. Okay. From Tom B. How much do you actually sleep? Enough to be alive. I sleep. I'm not a good sleeper. I'll go ahead and say that. I used to be a good sleeper, but I haven't been a good sleeper in a very, very long time. Like during my time in the military and after the military. I just never slept great really ever again. I sleep enough. I would say I'm usually in bed for about 8 hours a night, but I wake up a lot, a lot. I couldn't tell you the last time I slept through the night. It just doesn't happen. I wake up, if I wake up on the low side 3 times, it'd be like a small amount. It could be 5 times. And I could wake up a little, or I could wake up a lot. And I frequently wake up early and just know that I'm not going to go back to sleep, and so I might get up. I did that today, as a matter of fact. So I was in bed last night on the earlier side. I think we were in bed around 9:30 at night last night. And I woke up this morning and looked at the clock, and it was 4 a.m. and I knew that I wasn't going to sleep anymore, and so I got up at 4 a.m. And so, kind of stuff like that. Let's see. From Corey W. I want to grow my chest a bit more, purely for aesthetic reasons. All good, my friend. I know that I won't look like some guys I see online. Would you suggest adding in some accessory work like ring dips, floor press? I don't have a safe way to do bench press, and push-ups on days when I feel it's appropriate. I've got no drama with that at all. If that's something that you want to pursue a little bit, I think you'll be great. It also depends upon, I think most people, with regards to chest development, with all the various presses that we do, the chest gets developed just fine. But if for whatever reason it's an area that you want to give a bit more time and attention to, what you just recommended there, I don't have any drama with that at all. I do extra push-ups every now and then, not because I feel like I need to, but just I'm here at my desk working all the time, and just as like a little shot of adrenaline, a couple times a day I might just drop down on the floor, do a set of 20 push-ups and get back up, and that just quick little pump and rush of blood and endorphins, I don't know, it's like having a little shot of caffeine at the desk, and it's good to go. Miguel D. Why do you make me do math? The Echo Bike is in miles, but you usually do the distances in meters. My friend, I understand. The Echo Bike and the Assault Bike as well, if you just go to your friend and mine, the Googles, go to Google or YouTube, one of the two, and just write in Echo Bike convert miles to meters. And there's just a couple little buttons you hit on the console, and then your display will be in meters, and you'll be totally good to go. Okay, now into the private Facebook group. Here we go. All right, we did that question. Here we go. From Patrick S., again, who celebrated his 1500th workout. Whenever you program box step-ups, I always use a 20-inch box, which is hip crease slightly below the knee for me. But when you program weighted box step-ups, a 20-pound dumbbell is all I can handle. So here's my question. Would there be any value in using a 16-inch box where I'm slightly above parallel if I could use more weight? We could probably have a longer discussion on that, but my short answer would be no, don't worry about it. Use the 20-inch box, and since it gets you just below parallel, good to go. And if that's demanding enough for you that the 20-pound weight is appropriately challenging, then cool, you're good to go. We do plenty of obviously other things, from weighted lunges on the ground, back squats, thrusters, you name it, that you're going to be able to get ample loading above that when the weighted box step up comes up. I wouldn't worry about it at all. I'd stick with just the way that you're doing it. Okay. From Veronica S. I'm working on getting my first pull-up. Congratulations. You will, if you just stick with it. And I would like to know how far up the bar should be. Right now, if my feet are on the floor, I can touch the bar. But if I try banded or jumping, I feel like it needs to be higher. Okay, so I don't know, there's ideally where it'd be, and there's the real world. My pull-up bar in the garage, I'm not the world's tallest guy. My wife's shorter than me. But my pull-up bar in the garage, I can stand flat-footed on the ground, extend my arms up over my head, and grab the pull-up bar. In an ideal world, that's not the height that I would want it to be. But happy wife, happy life. The pull-up bar is set where she can do pull-ups her feet don't hit the ground, and she can do bar muscle-ups. So if we put the bar too high, she wouldn't be able to do bar muscle-ups in the garage. So I can do obviously all styles of pull-ups. I just have to bend my legs in a way that's not ideal, but it's okay. But I can't do bar muscle-ups. There's not enough height for me up there. If we had a higher ceiling, we could do whatever, and you're asking just the best advice. Ideally, you would be able to grab the pull-up bar when you jump up, and then your feet would not touch the ground. You don't need to have, 2 feet of air between your toes and the ground. 4 to 6 inches would be utterly fine, so just your toes just aren't going to touch the ground, but it's not a struggle to jump up to grab the bar. Because then you could kip, you could do banded pull-ups, you could do whatever you want to do, and you'd be totally fine. So that would be the ideal height, I would say. All right, from Sebastian F. I've been dealing with some pain in my right ankle and left knee for a while. Anything dynamic, even push presses, aggravated at the moment. In addition to that, all of my monostructural movements are taken off the table because of this. Many of the workouts have now become low heart rate, strength-biased upper body work. If something like this were to go on for a while, how could one still do CrossFit style workouts? Interesting. And so you've got pain in your right ankle, and left knee for a while. Both sides. Yikes. Okay, and anything dynamic's no good. So you can't jump rope, you can't run. It sounds like you can't do an air bike, I'm guessing. You can't row. So all those things are off the table. Well, my friend, other than doing some kipping pull-ups, which will get your heart rate up, you might just have to actually just rest for a bit. I mean, you're probably doing this, but it goes without saying, like, please seek out a competent medical professional in your area and figure out why you're dealing with these things, what the actual problem is, and get on a track to get them fixed so that you're not dealing with them forever. They don't become chronic. So don't do like so many of us knuckleheads do of try to work through it, and then you have an injury that just lingers forever. So it sounds like you're not using those parts of your body. Stay away from them. Modify as needed. Let them actually heal to 100%, and then come on back in an intelligent manner. But if during the time that is, let's say it's 3 weeks, could be 9 weeks that you're allowing your body to heal after you talk to this medical professional. If you have to go lower intensity for most things because you can't do dynamic movement, can't use your legs like that, and other than kipping pull-ups, nothing's really getting you going, that's okay. Again, as long as you're not eating like a drunken pirate, you're still doing functional movements, you're still loading your body. It's just, you can't get after it like that. You're going to be okay, and keeping yourself moving with functional movements and keeping your nutrition tight, you'll come back sooner than you realize. And so just hang in there, my friend, but there might be no way around that for a bit. Let's see. Running substitutions. Corey S. A dad here with no rower or indoor bike or runner, just my trusty running shoes. My gym is in the basement, and when my son is napping, I don't feel comfortable leaving the house, even just for a little 200-meter or 400-meter run. How should I think about mimicking the stimulus for runs? I'm guessing some jump rope. Any ideas on time for substitutions? Thanks, the programming is amazing. So Corey, no worries. There's a whole bunch of different stuff you could do, but if I could just simplify it down to one recommendation, in place of the running, try some running step single unders with the jump rope. Sounds like you can jump rope in the basement, you'll be good to go. And I would just do, I don't know how good of a runner you are, but let's just say based off an 8-minute mile, that means a 400-meter run would be 2 minutes of work. An 800-meter run, 4 minutes of work. A 200-meter run, 1 minute of work. And so if the workout calls for a 400-meter run, look at the clock, and for 2 minutes do running step single unders. Calls for a 200-meter run, look at the clock, and for 1 minute, do 1 minute of running step single unders. Now those don't have to be unbroken, trip when you trip, reset and go again. 2 minutes I'd rather jog for 2 minutes than do 2 minutes of running step single unders. So you're not going to be shortchanged by doing that in any way, shape, or form. And then, when it's the days that you can get out there and run, you'll get out there and run, and you'll be good to go. Let's see. Okay. From Phil T. Curious where the inspiration or idea or the backstory is on some of the Lynchpin tests like test 13, of course, being one of them. So the Lynchpin test, I think there is 15 of them, or is there 14? There, if you go to CrossFitLynchpin.com, you click on tests or workouts and tests, you can see all of them. They're just workouts that, over all the years and years and years that I've been doing this, I've got, I don't even know how many Google Docs and sheets of just with various ideas and things pop into my head. I'll put something there and come back and polish it and come back and test it and blah, blah, blah. And those were just ones that were sticky. I liked them. I thought they'd be useful to actually give them a name and have them be some sort of a Lynchpin benchmark and come back in. And a wide variety. Some of them are appropriate. Some of them are so heavy and challenging that they're bordering on inappropriate. And I wanted that big variety. And Lynchpin Test 13 was something that I'd done several times on my own. It was just so nasty, I figured that it needed a name. Pardon me. So, for anyone unfamiliar with Lynchpin Test 13, that is 400 meter run, 20 burpees, 400 meter run, 19 burpees, 400 meter run, 18 burpees, all the way down to a 400 meter run and 1 burpee. And if you want to, go ahead and wear a weight vest. So it comes up to like 5 miles of running and 210 burpees. It's a beast. We do it once a year. I can't remember when we do it, but it'll be coming up here in a bit, so that'll make its appearance. Final question from Jody D. I listened to the VNR podcast on jump rope and suspect there will be some accompanying changes to Lynchpin's programming. Yesterday I tried out single arm crossovers for a set period of time instead of the 75 reps program and enjoyed most of it. My butt still has red welts on it from some fails though, 24 hours later. I've never been able to feel anything other than ridiculous and not graceful doing running except single unders. Can you point us to a good video to learn from or have Mateo make one? Let me get with Mateo. I thought that we had one. I think that we do, but I'll go ahead and see for sure. Yeah, I really enjoyed that interview that we did with Chris Rollins about the jump rope. I didn't agree with him about everything, but I thought he had some interesting points that are certainly worth trying. And so you will see coming up in some of the future Lynchpin programming that I will put some periods of time to do jump rope reps in instead of a set number. So it might be instead of 100 double unders, which might be common, I might say do a minute of jump rope or 2 minutes of jump rope or something like that. In that 2 minutes of jump rope, I could assign a particular step to it, whether it's single unders, double unders, running step, single arm crossovers, whatever, or give you, watch the daily video, but give you the freedom to say, hey, you're going to jump rope for 2 minutes, and you can select whatever type of jump rope step is appropriately challenging for where you are in your fitness journey. And that's a really cool bit of freedom to have everybody have the workout meet them where they're at, still get better at jump roping, and we're having fun working out, and so that could be cool. So, okay, that, my friends, is all the questions. Let me make sure I didn't miss anything. No, we are good to go. All right, I'm going to stop this video and now edit it, and hope that next week YouTube fixes whatever they have going on, and I can do this from my laptop. So, enjoy your Thursday, and we'll talk later.